Chapter 7, and we were hearing about Lord Krishna becoming very heavy. There are different yoga, different yoga siddhis, right? Asta siddhis, 8 yoga siddhis. One of them is to become very light, lighter than the lightest, and the other one is to become very heavy. What is the Sanskrit name? Is it Mahima and Lagima?
Yeah, Lagima is becoming lighter, Maharaj. Mahima is heavier.
Right. So Lord Krishna first of all used his Mahima, potency, made himself very heavy. Mother Yashoda put him down, and then became Lagima, became very light. Trinavarta came, and Trinavarta can pick him up and carry him up into the air, and he's a whirlwind. So Lord Krishna is going round. That very name, Trinavarta, it means one who makes everything grass go round. So everything gets caught up in the whirlwind, it just goes round and round. So this was playing, Lord Krishna was playing. And this demon Trinavarta, he could become visible and invisible. Very powerful. He had that power. Sometimes, but when Lord Krishna was up there in the whirlwind, and he was held by Trinavarta. So Lord Krishna got him by the neck. Lord Krishna is holding him by the neck. And then Lord Krishna, he'd been using Mahima, he made himself very light. So Lord Krishna made himself very light so he could go up in the air. And then he became very heavy. It became very heavy, and Vritasura is trying to carry him. Now Vritasura was thinking he was heavy, but he was holding Krishna. Well, actually Krishna was holding him. It wasn't that Vritasura was holding Krishna, it was Krishna holding Vritasura, and he was holding him by the neck, and he wouldn't let go. And Vritasura understood this Krishna is too heavy. It was like carrying a heavy mountain. It was so heavy. Vritasura, he was going higher and higher, but when Krishna became heavy, he had to stop. He couldn't go forward anymore. He couldn't go up anymore. He couldn't go anywhere because Krishna was so heavy. And he was trying to get Krishna off him, but Krishna wouldn't let go. Krishna was holding him tight. So, Lord Krishna was holding this demon very tightly, and the demon just had to come down, and it came crashing down. The Vritasura was very heavy, but Lord Krishna, when he came down, he was like a leaf, like when a leaf is falling from the tree. The leaf falls very gently on the ground. But Vritasura is like some big rock, he's a heavy rock. He came crashing down on the ground, and all of his bones were broken, and he died like that. So this was the Leela with Vritasura. We'll read some of the sections from Prabhupada's purport. In text 18, Prabhupada writes, Krishna knew that when Vritasura came and took him away from his mother's lap, Mother Yashoda would be greatly bereaved. So he did not want his mother to suffer any difficulty from the demon. Therefore, because he is the source of everything, Janmadhyasya, he assumed the heaviness of the entire universe. So that was when Mother Yashoda put him down. He became so heavy, Mother Yashoda couldn't bear to hold him. So Mother Yashoda put him down, and then I gave Trinavarta an opportunity to take Krishna away. And Krishna is able to play with him. The child returned. After some time, Krishna, of course, will come back. So Mother Yashoda, when she put the child down, because she was feeling the weight of Krishna, she was thinking that something is wrong, that maybe he's being attacked by a ghost or a demon. So she was worried. So she took shelter of Lord Narayan. Because she's Nityasiddha devotee, so naturally anything goes a little not quite right, then she takes shelter of the Supreme Lord. She's always thinking of the Supreme Lord. She never forgets Krishna. So whenever there's some disturbance like this, why is Krishna so heavy? Something is wrong. So she prays to Lord Narayan to protect her child. And she calls for the Brahmanas. She wants the Brahmanas to come to do something about this heaviness. So she could not understand that this was all for Krishna's pastimes. Krishna wants to arrange this pastime with Vritasura. Mother Yashoda did not understand that Krishna is the heaviest of all heavy things, and that Krishna rests within everything. Matstani sarva bhutani. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina, Krishna is everywhere in his impersonal form, and everything rests upon him. Nonetheless, nachaham teshvavastitaha, Krishna is not everywhere. Mother Yashoda was unable to understand this philosophy because she was dealing with Krishna as his real mother by the arrangement of Yoga Maya. Not understanding the importance of Krishna, she could only seek shelter of Lord Narayan for Krishna's safety and call the Brahmanas to counteract the situation. So Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains this mood here, how Mother Yashoda's, her Vatsalya Ras is pure Vatsalya Ras. There's no conception that her child is God. There's no Aishwarya Gyan there. And so she can only think of Krishna as her child and how to protect him. Of course, Prabhupada's quoting Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna's everywhere, he's in everything. So when the child was put on the ground, that's when Trinavarta come. And Trinavarta, he's a servant of Kamsa. Kamsa had initially sent Putana. Putana was his up front. He sent her up front, go, kill all the children. So he had sent Putana out and he thought she would do the work. But then he heard how Putana had been killed. So he was shocked because he knew Putana was very powerful. So the next one to go, Sakatasura. He sent Sakatasura in there. He was invisible. But he also got killed. And now, that was when Krishna was 3 months old, Sakatasura was killed. And now we're hearing Trinavarta, 1 year, Krishna's 1, and how he's going to be killed. So with the death of Trinavarta, then Kamsa is really worried, because Putana, Sakatasura, Trinavarta, all gone, right? And how did they go? Well, Putana went with Krishna's lips, just by the power of Lord Krishna's lips. By a touch of his lips, he took out the life air of Putana. And Shakatasura went by the touch of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And Trinavarta, he's going to go by the touch of Lord Krishna's body. So we see how Krishna is omnipotent, that any parts of his body, he can kill these demons with any part of his body. So wonderful, hearing these different pastimes and appreciating them. All right, so Krishna's heaviness, the purport of text 20, Krishna's heaviness was unbearable for the child's mother. But when Trinavarta came, he immediately carried the child away. This was another demonstration of Krishna's inconceivable energy. When the Trinavarta demon came, Krishna became lighter than the grass, so that the demon could carry him away. This was Anandamaya Ras, Krishna's blissful transcendental pleasure. We saw in Chaitanya Leela also that at the time of when Haridas Thakur had been beaten in 22 marketplaces, then Haridas Thakur somehow was not dying. And so the people who were beating him, they prayed to Haridas that, will you please leave your body? If we don't kill you, we'll be punished. So Haridas Thakur thought, oh, all right, and Haridas Thakur became unconscious. And so then they thought, oh, he's dead. And they tried to pick up his body, but they couldn't pick him up because he'd made his body so heavy, they couldn't pick him up. And so they didn't know what to do. This was Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur also has mystic powers, mystic potencies. Actually, coming up, there's another statement also, how devotees all have mystic powers, right? How did Prabhupada show his mystic power? When we asked Prabhupada, what is your mystic power, Swamiji? What did he say?
By spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world.
Yes. And
peace have become happiness.
Yes, he pointed to the people. He said before, these people were all sinful. They didn't follow any regulations. Now they're very gentle and they're very God conscious, very law abiding. Before they were dirty and morose and full of sinful habits, but now they're mad after love of God. So that is the mystic power of the devotee. Any other examples of Prabhupada's mystic power?
Can I add one point, Guru Maharaj?
Yes, please.
One time Jananiwas Prabhu mentioned Srila Prabhupada to give a comment. He said the yogis, they enter into the Ganges water and then they came out from another place. So they can travel inside the Ganga river. And then Jananiwas Prabhu said, Prabhupada mentioned that I saw that. So that means Prabhupada also has the power of those yogis.
Okay. We never saw Prabhupada display that power.
I read in, may I speak, Maharaj?
Yes, please.
I read in Prabhupada Leelamrit. Prabhupada was, I believe, in Hyderabad, and they gave him a coconut water to drink. So he drank, then to his full satisfaction, then the next devotee drank to his full satisfaction, then the next devotee drank to the full satisfaction. Actually, many devotees drank, and yet it was not finishing. It comes in Leelamrit.
Okay, that was a nice thing. There's like Amgat, right? Lord Chaitanya with the mangoes. So Prabhupada had the coconut. I was thinking, there was one example when they were doing the installation of Radha Landaneshwara in London. It was 1969. 1969, I think it was. And they were installing the deities, and the altar actually kind of collapsed. They'd built the altar, but it practically collapsed. But somehow Prabhupada was in there, and Prabhupada just grabbed it and saved it. You know, although he was elderly, 70 plus, Prabhupada somehow, by his mystic power, he was able to hold up the altar while the devotees could make some arrangement to save the deities. And so it was an incredible feat for an elderly person that he could do that. So I thought that was an example of his mystic power. And also I thought the fact that he could travel everywhere constantly, writing and traveling, never get jet lag. He was never overcome by fatigue. He was always energetic. And the young sannyasis, they would all be falling asleep and so tired, but Prabhupada would be pushing on, just fully engaged. That's also like mystic power, that he could do it.
Maharaj?
Yes, Prabhu?
I also heard a story of Srila Prabhupada, like he was walking down the staircase and he saw that he was not touching the floor.
Oh, he didn't leave any footprints.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else left footprints, but Prabhupada didn't leave any footprints. Something like that, is it?
Also that he stepped on a worm, but the worm kept on walking. Like he was not, touching the floor, like the worm went under his foot.
Okay. Like Maharaj Yudhisthira's chariot didn't touch the ground. So Prabhupada didn't touch the ground. Okay, so, all right. So text 21 says, covering the whole land of Gokul with particles of dust, that demon acting as a strong whirlwind covered everyone's vision and began vibrating everywhere with a greatly fearful sound. It was really a powerful demon. For a moment, the whole pasturing ground was overcast with dense darkness. From the dust storm, Mother Yashoda was unable to find her son, where she had placed him. Right? After the whirlwind came, Mother Yashoda doesn't know what happened. Where's my child? Where's Krishna gone? Oh, where's my baby? I put him here. He's not there. Where's he gone? Oh, Mother Yashoda is really, really worried. And when she sees Krishna's not there, she just breaks down crying. And she fell down on the ground like a cow who had lost her calf, began to lament very pitifully. She was really feeling the separation, the pain of separation from her child. So that whirlwind had taken away her child. And what's Mother Yashoda going to do? There's no trace. She could not understand what had happened. And when Mother Yashoda was crying, then all the other gopis were wondering what's going on. And then Mother Yashoda tells them about the Krishna's disappeared, the baby's gone. And they all cry, they all start to cry because the gopis, they also love Krishna. The dearest person to them is also Krishna. And so they felt very sorry and they were also crying with Mother Yashoda. So text 25, when the force of the dust storm and the wind subdued, Yashoda's friends, the other gopis, approached Mother Yashoda, hearing her pitiful crying. Not seeing Krishna present, they too felt very much aggrieved and joined Mother Yashoda crying, their eyes full of tears. So this attachment for the gopis, attachment of the gopis to Krishna, this is their pure love. It is not material, it is transcendental. This is due to their prema bhakti, that Lord Krishna is the dear most lovable object. And these people of Vrindavan, they all love Krishna more than anything. So Mother Yashoda is lamenting, the ladies are also lamenting. And Lord Krishna, he's playing. He's up there in the air, playing around, whirling around, holding on to the demon Trinavarta. The demon Trinavarta took Krishna very high in the sky, but Krishna became heavier than the demon. The demon had to stop his force and could go no further. Right? Lord Krishna exhibited this Mahima Siddhi, becoming very heavy. Different yoga siddhis are there, right? Prapti Siddhi can bring something from far away. Prabhupada tells that he met a man who asked him, "What fruit do you like?" And Prabhupada said, "Oh, I like pomegranates." So the man said, "Oh, they have very nice pomegranates in Kabul." So the man sat in meditation, he held out his hand, and a few moments later, a big pomegranate came in his hand. And the man said, "This is from Kabul." So the man had this kind of Prapti Siddhi. And of course, we just heard about people bathing in the Ganga, that they could go in there one place and come up another place many miles away. So that's another yoga siddhi. So there are 8 yoga siddhis. By practicing mystic yoga, you can get some of these yoga perfections. And there are many people who very much want to get these kind of yoga siddhis, but they don't know how to use them properly. And if you look at the second paragraph there, in the purport of this text number 26, Prabhupada writes, devotees automatically have all mystic powers, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Devotees have mystic powers. Yeah, we must have some kind of mystic power just to stay alive in Krishna consciousness. We have to have some kind of mystic power to keep going in Krishna consciousness. And we see devotees, they do everything. Devotees travel so many places. Prabhupada pointed out, when Prabhupada's time, the Los Angeles temple, so many devotees, so many motor cars, and nobody working. And they're living in nice places, they have nice property, and nobody's working. How do they manage? By the grace of Krishna. And we see it all around the world. Devotees, they can make nice temples for Lord Krishna, and they can live very comfortably in Krishna consciousness. You can be married, you can have a family, you can maintain yourself nicely. You won't be rich, but at the same time your basic needs will be provided and we'll be happy. So that is Krishna consciousness, living peacefully and happily. We're not interested in a lot of sense gratification. We just want to serve Krishna. We want devotional service. So devotees have mystic powers, but we don't use them to compete with Krishna. We may use them to serve Krishna, but we won't use them to compete. Prabhupada said, instead they fully surrender to Krishna, and their yoga power is demonstrated by Krishna's mercy. Right? Krishna's mercy. Do you get Krishna's mercy, Mataji? Rasa Samaya?
Yes, Maharaj.
In what form do you get Krishna's mercy?
In every way, Maharaj. Like say, during this pandemic, we could see that the whole world was suffering. But the devotees, we got together, we had more programs online, we were giving more Krishna consciousness, we were preaching to more people, and we did not feel so much anxious because of the pandemic. So that we could see that as a special mercy of Krishna.
Yes, right. Very nice, yes. Thank you. Yeah, really, for the devotees, what was really a terrible time for the materialistic people was a wonderful time for the devotees, isn't it? It's a wonderful opportunity. We get more Krishna consciousness. We have more programs, more hearing and chanting. Wonderful programs going on. So we're so fortunate. So that's also Krishna's mystic power, that he arranges these things for us so that if we take the opportunity, every opportunity, we can always increase our service to Krishna. So Prabhupada talks about some people, they get some little yoga siddhis and they want to attract followers and they claim they're avatar of God. And Prabhupada said here, at the present moment, there are many so-called Babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonder. And foolish people regard them as God because of lacking knowledge of Krishna. So that is the point. You know, devotees should not be fooled. Of course, devotees are not fooled. The people who are fooled are the people who they don't know, they have no knowledge of Krishna. So they're easily fooled. So we have to try to educate people about these things. So this is a wonderful pastime, how Lord Krishna is actually delivering this Trinavarta. So because of Krishna's weight, text 27, Trinavarta considered him to be like a great mountain or a hunk of iron. But because Krishna had caught the demon's neck, the demon was unable to throw him off. He therefore thought of the child as wonderful, since he could neither bear the child nor cast aside the burden. So just like Putana, we saw Putana also. She was calling out, "Oh child, leave me, leave me." You know, they were so fortunate. They were getting the touch of Lord Krishna, and that's going to give them the greatest mercy. But they were not appreciating it in their demonic body. But Krishna is so kind, he didn't let go. He held on until they left the body. Prabhupada's purport of 27, now, since Trinavarta was falling because of Krishna's heaviness, he wanted to save himself by throwing Krishna off from his neck, but he was unable to do so because Krishna held him very tightly. Consequently, this would be the last time for Trinavarta's yoga power. Now he was going to die by the arrangement of Krishna. So actually Krishna was enjoying the ride with Trinavarta, going up there in the sky, just like, you know, children like to be thrown up into the air, throw them up in the air and catch them, they'll laugh. So Krishna, this was his childhood Leela. He was enjoying Trinavarta carrying him around and burrowing him around in the whirlwind. But now, this demon is choked and he crashes to the ground. He fell down with and Krishna's on top of him. The demon crashes to the ground and all his bones are broken. They land on some hard stone. And the gopis, they were wondering where Krishna had gone. And then they suddenly, when they're crying for Krishna, they see this demon fall from the sky onto the big slab of stone. And it said his limbs dislocated as if he had been pierced by the arrows of Lord Shiva, like Tripurasura. Right? Who's going to tell us about Tripurasura? You've studied that, right? That was in 7th Canto Bhaktivedanta. Tripurasura, the demon Tripura. Who knows the pastime? 7th Canto Bhaktivedanta.
Mas, can I speak?
Yes, please, Prabhu.
There were 3 cities, Tripura, and the demons were attacking from them on the demigods. And Lord Shiva went to fight on the behalf of the demigods, but he was not able to win. So that time he was given the bow and the weapons by Lord Vishnu, and then he burned all the 3 cities into ashes. That's why he's called Tripuradi.
Yes, but there was a bit before that, right? There was a bit before that these 3 cities, these 3 fortresses, one was made of gold, one was made of silver, one was of steel. And they got attacked. Lord Shiva killed them all, but these 3 fortresses were made by Mayadanava. Mayadanava is another demon, and he had given them these fortresses. So when they all got killed, you know what Mayadanava did? Do you remember?
He brought them back to life.
Yeah, how did he do it?
He made a lake made of nectar.
Right, he had a well with nectar.
And then he ate them and he killed them.
Right, and they came back to life. So then what happens?
Then Lord Vishnu and Brahma comes as a calf and a cow, and they drink the whole nectar.
Yeah, they drank all the nectar. And then?
And then Lord Shiva was empowered to kill them so that they can't...
Then Lord Krishna came and he gave Lord Shiva a lot of weapons, a lot of astras and everything. Yeah, so Lord Shiva came and killed them all again. And this time there's no nectar to save them. And Mayadanava, although he's a demon, he also knows philosophy, and he understood, well, this is destiny. He said, you can't change destiny. So, that was Tripasura. So it's mentioned here that this demon, Trinavarta, his limbs were dislocated just like he'd been pierced by the arrow of Lord Shiva when he destroyed Tripurasura. Prabhupada writes in the purport, he said, actually such devotees are always in transcendental bliss, and such apparent calamities provide a further impetus for that bliss. Calamities, apparent calamities provide an opportunity for us to experience bliss. Do you have any experience like that? Anybody? What seemed like a calamity becomes bliss for us? Well, we just described, right? The pandemic. We thought it was a calamity. It's a pandemic. It's a calamity all over the world. But the devotees are not thinking pandemic. The devotees are thinking bliss. Right? It's an impetus for bliss. Totally different. Because we're transcendental. Because we're engaged in Krishna's service. Any other examples? Calamities which become blissful? No?
In Mayapur Dham, flood is blissful.
Problem with the mic there, Prabhu. You got a problem with your mic?
Maharaj Srinivas Gopal Prabhu is saying that in Mayapur, when there is a flood, like a calamity, but our devotees are very blissful worshipping the Lord.
Really? When there's a flood in Mayapur, it's blissful, is it?
Oh, not audible. In Mayapur Dham, flood is blissful. Devotees enjoy.
Yeah? What's he say? Okay.
Yes, Maharaj. Devotees enjoy.
Yeah, devotees always enjoy. They have nothing else to do but enjoy, right? Prabhupada said, chanting, dancing, feasting. This is a movement of recreation only. Just simple recreation.
Maharaj, when Japanese were bombing Kolkata, Prabhupada was enjoying frying kachoris for Radha Krishna. He was not afraid.
Right. So his name is Kachori Baba. Huh? Yes, very nice. Okay, going ahead, text 30. So the gopis immediately picked up Krishna from the chest of the demon and delivered him, free from all inauspiciousness, to Mother Yashoda. Because the child, although taken into the sky by the demon, was unhurt, and now free from all danger and misfortune, the gopis and cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj were extremely happy. Yeah, you can see the people of Vrindavan, they're also happy. Big demons are coming, calamities are coming, but it's more bliss. Putana came, that was bliss. They burned Putana, and a guru scent filled the air. The whole place became very fragrant. Sakatasura was removed, and now we have Trinavarta. He's also killed by the mercy of Krishna. Of course, they're liberated. They're going back to Godhead. They're all special souls taking part in Krishna's pastimes. So this is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha. In any condition, Krishna is Satchid Ananda Vigraha. He has no unhappiness. Do we see Krishna unhappy? Well, actually you may see sometimes it appears Krishna is unhappy. Can you think of some cases, some leelas where Krishna became unhappy?
Damodar Leela.
He's crying, yeah, Mother Yashoda, okay. Yes, very good. Yeah.
He became angry when Arjuna was about to be killed by Bhishma.
Okay, yes, he came running, he broke his promise, picked up the chariot wheel, come running. And there's also other leelas.
Maharaj?
Yes?
Krishna is remembering the residents of the Vrindavan while being in Dwarka. So it seems to me that he is very unhappy.
Ah. And when he was in Dwarka, sometimes Dwarka was attacked. Like, was it Pundraka came? Or who was it, was flying the aeroplane? He could fly, become visible and invisible.
Salva.
Salva, yes. Yeah, right. So at one point, Salva produced the head of Vasudeva. He said, I'm going to kill him. And then in front, he was using yoga powers. It wasn't actually Vasudeva, it was a Maya Vasudeva. He created a Vasudeva by his yoga powers. And Krishna was watching, and he saw the Salva cut off the head of Vasudeva. So Krishna was like, wow. But Krishna, of course, knew it wasn't real. But Krishna was just acting. He was just playing the role to bewilder Salva. And so there are incidents like that. And when he saw also the cowherd boys walk into the mouth of Aga, he thought, oh no, these cowherd boys had gone into Aga's mouth. Oh no, I have to go in there and get them. I have to go and save them. We saw Aga as such a huge demon. So this is, yes?
Maharaj, also when Bhima killed Duryodhana, Krishna was unhappy to see Duryodhana in that plight. His thigh was broken and vultures were about to bite him.
Oh.
Krishna was unhappy there.
Oh, really? Oh. It's described like that, is it? In Mahabharata? Oh. Okay, interesting. Thank you.
First canto Bhagavatam.
So, going ahead, text 31. It is most astonishing that although this innocent child was taken away by the Rakshasa to be eaten, He has returned without having been killed or even injured, because the demon was envious, cruel, and sinful. He had been killed for his own sinful activities. This is the law of nature. An innocent devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and a sinful person is always vanquished for his sinful life. So very important for us to remember that. Of course, sometimes we may be bewildered. We may think, oh, devotee, innocent devotee is suffering. We have to understand also there's the plan of Lord Krishna. Ultimately, everything depends on the plan of Krishna. So devotees surrender to Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj and the gopis and other cowherd men could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead playing as a human child, and that his life was not in danger under any circumstances. Rather, because of their intense parental love for Krishna, they thought that Krishna was an innocent child and had been saved by the Supreme Lord. So this is the pure love of Nanda and Yashoda. They have this prema bhakti. Their mood is just prema bhakti. There's no tinge of anything else. They just understand Krishna to be their child, and they just want to protect him. So they're fully in this mood of Vatsalya Ras. So we see this Vatsalya Ras perfected here in Vrindavan, and of course later on Krishna will go to Dwarka. Vatsalya Ras will also be there, but not quite like in Vrindavan. Then it's mentioned about fear, that fear is one of the aspects of material life. Eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing, Srila Prabhupada would say. Sometimes we would say defending. Defending is also like fearing. We defend because we're afraid. So we live in this world and we're always fearful of things, right? We're fearful of we're fearful of this COVID disease. We're fearful of our old age, we're fearful of our death, we're fearful of losing our money, we're fearful of things going wrong. So many fears we have. That's the nature of material life. We have to learn to also ultimately surrender to Krishna and know that Krishna will protect us. Devotees like Nanda and Yashoda are not fearful. They're fully surrendered to Krishna. So they know about Krishna. They're not thinking, of course, Krishna will protect them. Their only fear is for Krishna, to protect Krishna. They're not worried about their own self. They have no thought of their own protection. They're simply thinking of their child. You know, sometimes there'll be a fire, and the family may be in the fire. So the mother who loves her child so much, she'll go into the fire to try to save her child. She'll give up her own life to try to rescue her child because of her deep love for her child. That is that is like Vatsalya Ras. They have that deep love for their children that they'll go into the fire just to bring their child out. Prabhupada writes in the purport there, that Krishna will protect his devotee is a fact. And Nanda Maharaj and the other inhabitants of Vrindavan accepted this very simply, although they did not know that the Supreme Lord himself was present before them. Of course, you've already done the next chapter, which is about I think it's the name-giving ceremony of Lord Krishna. And at the time of the name-giving ceremony, then at that time Garga Acharya, he tells Nanda Maharaj that there will be many dangers, but by the grace of this child, Krishna, you'll overcome all dangers, because this child is like Lord Narayan. So, you know, you've already studied that, so you know that from the future. So Prabhupada said, our only business is to become Krishna conscious. conscious. That's an important point. And we have to engage in Krishna's service. And then we do our service for Krishna, Krishna will serve us. Krishna likes to reciprocate with his devotees. The more we serve Krishna, the more Krishna serves his devotees. So then Nanda Maharaj is feeling very fortunate because his child has been saved from so many calamities. Aga, Sakatasura, the cart falling over, and now this Trinavarta whirlwind have all tried to create a big disturbance in Gokul, but Krishna's unharmed. So Nanda Maharaj is thinking more and more about the words of Vasudeva and how Vasudeva was such a great man that he could understand the situation. And he'd warned Nanda Maharaj to go back and take care of things there. So Nanda Maharaj is really appreciating these words of Vasudeva, that, oh, he was so learned, he was so right. And now, text 32, Nanda Maharaj is analyzing why it is that this child Krishna, and why it is that their whole family have been saved from death despite all these calamities. And he talks about the different austerities which they may have done, and pious activities which they may have performed. And because of these things, it's brought happiness to the family and to the child also, because of the different pious activities which they have done. Of course, you do good, you get good, right? We say, as you sow, so shall you reap. Or in India, jaisa karega, aisa barega. You get the results of your work. Prabhupada said, thus one becomes pious, and as a result, one is happy, even in material conditions of life. So it's very good for us also as devotees to be pious. And our piety, of course, we said, the best thing we have to give people is Krishna consciousness. And we do want whatever we have, we like to share it with people. When people come to our temple, we invite them, come, take prasadam. And some people even come and stay in the temple. Sometimes life members come, they have rooms for life members that they can come and stay and give people a chance to be with the devotees. So like that, we want to be pious, cultivate that piety. We don't become Krishna conscious just by being pious, but it's an important aspect that as devotees, we should have all good qualities. And one of the good qualities is to be pious. Okay, text 33. Having seen all these incidents in Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj became more and more astonished, and he remembered the words spoken to him by Vasudeva in Mathura. So we have one more pastime here. One day Mother Yashoda, having taken up Krishna, placed him on her lap, was feeding him milk from her breast with material affection. The milk was flowing from her breast, and the child was drinking it. Right? The milk was, Mother Yashoda had so much love, her clothes were regularly soaked with her milk because she loved Krishna so much. Her milk was flowing. So when Krishna was finished drinking his mother's milk, and Mother Yashoda was touching him and looking at his brilliant, smiling face, the baby yawned, and Mother Yashoda saw in his mouth the whole sky, the higher planetary system, and the earth, the luminaries in all directions, the sun, moon, fire, air, the seas, islands, mountains, rivers, forests, and all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. So this is the first incident of Krishna showing the universe within his mouth to Mother Yashoda. There'll be another one, of course, when Krishna is eating dirt. That's also another one. Krishna will show these things to Mother Yashoda. Why is Krishna doing like that? Prabhupada touches on it in the purport. He says, by the arrangement of Yoga Maya, Krishna's pastimes with Mother Yashoda were all regarded as ordinary. So here was an opportunity for Krishna to show his mother that the whole universe is situated within him. Mother Yashoda sees the universe which is appears to be in his mouth. So Krishna has been performing these pastimes, but these pastimes are like human activities, like little child. They don't understand there's any divine power. But when Krishna shows the universe within his mouth, then that's a big shock to Mother Yashoda. And she closes her eyes. Now, why does she close her eyes when she sees the universe in the mouth of Krishna? Why would she do that? Krishna Kanaya Prabhu. Any ideas? Why does Mother Yashoda close her eyes? Did you hear the question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Maharaj, I have the question. A little puzzled with this question.
Okay. Anybody else would like to answer this question? Why would Mother Yashoda, who loves Krishna so much, and she always wants to see Krishna, she doesn't like to lose sight of Krishna, but when she looked in his mouth and saw the whole universe, she closed her eyes. You know that
Probably because it was not attractive for her, because of her mother's feelings.
Yes, right. That's one reason. She did not appreciate it, right? It wasn't attractive to her. Yes. Yes, Maraji, you wanted to say something also?
Yeah, the same thing, Maharaj. The relationship between Mother Yashoda and Krishna is of pure maternal love. So she did not wanted the opulence to come in between, so she closed her eyes.
Right. Yes. Yes. She was worried that maybe some other danger. So her eyes became restless. And Prabhupada said her eyes became like those of a deer cub. So this was all the arrangement of Yoga Maya. We see when Arjuna saw the universal form, he didn't like to see it either. He told Krishna, let me see your forearm form, let me see your original form. So in this way, Krishna revealed his forearm form to Arjuna and then the two-arm form. So Krishna is playing these games with Mother Yashoda. He was letting her see the whole universe in her mouth. And the text says, text 37 says, when Mother Yashoda saw the whole universe within the mouth of her child, her heart began to throb, and in astonishment she wanted to close her restless eyes. Okay. So at the end of this chapter here we see there's some 2 extra verses appear. In this way, to chastise and kill the demons, the child Krishna demonstrated many activities in the house of Nanda Maharaj, and the inhabitants of Braja enjoyed these incidents. To increase the transcendental pleasure of the gopis and the gopas, Krishna, the killer of all demons, was thus raised by his father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. Then Sripad Vijayawada Tirtha also adds another verse after the 3rd verse in this chapter. Parikshit Maharaj then requested Sukadeva Goswami to continue speaking such narrations about the pastimes of Krishna so that the king could enjoy from them transcendental bliss. Okay, so that's the end of the chapter. Are there any questions? Any points we can discuss? You want to go over? This is the last class from me this week. Of course, this is the end of the week. You're off tomorrow. Is there anything?
Maharaj?
Yes, Prabhu?
Here, these two extra verses means, remember, writes here kindness, but it's not in our books, Maharaj, not in our BBT publication.
Oh, really?
At the end of the beginning of this chapter, two extra verses, things appear.
You don't have these extra verses?
No, these verses are not there, Maharaj, in our BBT version.
Well, I'm using...
They are there in the purport to the last verse.
Yeah.
But you don't have it in your book? Maybe you have maybe you have an old edition.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavas Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanavas.
I take this opportunity first of all to thank you for giving such a wonderful narration of these chapters. Especially childhood pastimes of Krishna is so dear to the hearts of the devotees, all alike, in whatever state of activities one may be. Krishna attracts, especially the childhood pastimes. And you were such wonderful narrations. You took us through the entire Leela, the pastimes, the chapters, the purports, and also keeping us fully alert and awake by asking us several questions and trying to see how affectionate we are to Krishna. And that was a real test. So it was very, very interesting. I personally felt so blissful in these sessions. And I thank you from the core of my heart and wish to definitely hear more from you in the future chapters and also relish these wonderful pastimes. In fact, I was really wondering why there is only 40 chapters related to Krishna's childhood pastime. It should be 140 chapters because it should be a never-ending activity. Even though the other chapters are interesting, Mathura and Dwaraka pastimes as well, but the real attraction is in the childhood pastimes, which is so dear to the heart. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving us this wonderful nectar. We are completely mesmerized by the way of your narrations. Because you are intertwining the reading, the purport, the translation, as well as narrating the story, because you are personally enjoying it as well. That's how I could see from the way how your expressions were. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your kind words. Yes, I was just going to say that the Acharyas mentioned why there's not more chapters. They said they didn't have time because Maharaj Parikshit got 7 days to live, you see. So Sukadeva Goswami was aware of that. So he had to keep it brief. Otherwise they could have given many more. So thank you very much, Ramakrishna Prabhu. And I am coming back in about 3 weeks. I think I'm speaking on the Venu Gita, that section. And description.
Maharaj, Radhika Nagar Prabhu himself could not be present to thank you, but he has requested me to thank you on behalf of Mayapur Institute. You have taken trouble to speak for 2.5 hours. It's not easy at your advanced age. And as Ramakrishna Prabhu said, I would echo that we were all felt so jubilant and absorbed in the narrations you so sweetly presented to us. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so have a nice break your fast this evening and have some nice prasadam and have a nice next week study. Nice. Continue this study. Very pleasing to Prabhupada for all of us to do this. So I'll be seeing you in a few weeks. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Go back to
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you
very much, Maharaj.
His Holiness Bhaktivedanta.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
Krishna Maharaj. I'm just
Hare Krishna.
bringing some gifts from Jayadvaita Swami.
Oh, are you also a disciple of Jayadvaita Swami?
I'm a disciple of Kanabhakana Swami. But I was somehow...
Of course, they're also connected.
Yes.
So thank you very much. You still have the program today?
No, it's over. It's from 5 something like that.
Because there's a Purnima today, so everybody like fasting.
Yeah, so devotees who came there, they was not fasting.
They didn't fast?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Very kind of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Which place are you from?
From Europe, Czech Republic.
Czech?
Yes.
Okay. And Rajaram?
Yeah.
Is he still there?
Yeah, still with his wife. And still he's somehow participating on Padayatra because he is
He's still in Padayatra? Still in Padayatra?
Yes, every year.
Every year, wonderful.
This year there was Mahavishnu Swami also.
Mahavishnu came to Czech?
Yes. With Harinandaji, and it was...
And there's another Czech boy, he's in Taiwan, he married a Taiwan girl.
Yeah, Antadi.
Huh?
Antadi.
Antadi, is that his name? I don't know his name.
Maybe, I think maybe.
Also, he's a friend of Rajaram, they used to be together.
Yeah, you mean... Oh, what's his name? I don't remember.
No, Antadi, with some other name, I can't remember. I think it's still there. Interesting. Nice devotees. Okay, Prabhu, thank you. What's your good name?
Hamsa Avatar.
Hamsa Avatar.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.